Alan already touched on the payment of rent to non-residents and the rules there, which a bit like the foreign lump sums under a pension has been a bit of a mess for years. And I suppose we're kind of in an in-between phase at the moment because the rules changed. There's a lady called Maura Keneally has been driving it for revenue, and I was at a presentation she gave maybe about 6 months ago or slightly more recent than that, at which she was kind of indicating what was coming down the tracks. And a lot of it has kind of happened whereby the new portal is live from 1 July 2023 and the rules have changed quite considerably. But we're still, I suppose, at the moment with the tax deadline looming on 15 November, you're in the in-between bit where there was a workaround in prior years to try and make sure that it could be dealt with through the 2020, through the Form 11. And I believe, and I haven't had too many of these to deal with, but I believe that workaround is still there for Finance Act 2022 filings. So if you have payment of rent to non-residents, the boxes on the Form 11 are a bit confusing, but I think there has been a workaround, and I believe, subject to corrections, that is still available. So that is in box 501, and an e-brief I'd refer you to, and I'm just going to touch before I hand you back to Alan on some of the key e-briefs to look at. But one I'd mention is 177 of 23 is well worth a check, because that is the one that takes you through all of the main changes from Form 1121 that are in Form 1122, and it goes through the return panel by panel or box by box and indicates how you deal with that. And there's a bit of useful information there on the rent paid to non-residents. TRX clawback is in box or panel 502. 503 is maintenance payments. That's the mirror image of the other spouse getting a maintenance payment. This is where the spouse making the payment gets a deduction as a charge, which is at the full marginal rate. And that's claimed as a charge by inserting it into box 503. If you pay a covenant to an incapacitated person or to a parent aged 65 or over, here's where you put it. You put it in box 504. That's a useful relief. I'm not sure if people are using it as widely as they could, but certainly it is a relief that can be used, and it is, again, deductible by way of charge. Where it worked quite well is if on the other side, if you're in the position where the person receiving wasn't taxed at the marginal rate or had extra credits, there's probably within the family a slight benefit to be obtained there. May not be material, could be worth a look. Charges in general go into, e.g. patent royalty and similar, they go into box 505. Interest deduction, that's without deduction of tax, that's 506. The pension contributions, Alan touched on them a bit earlier, they're in boxes 507 to 511. And one I draw your attention to, I suppose, is the 510 is the one that deals with the QOPs, if that's the correct pronunciation, qualifying overseas pension plans that come in Finance Act 22. That's a new box that's there. 512 is the qualifying sports persons relief, and it covers an awful lot of professional players. So I'd imagine if you were doing the tax return for a certain J Sexton or K Earls, you might be seeing an entry in box 512 next year, as both have recently announced after their World Cup exploits that they're standing down. So that's where the claim might be, although I think Mr. Sexton's spell in Paris might come against him. But anyhow, 513 is loan acquired to interest and loan to acquire a share in a partnership. I think that's only for a farming partnership. And then section 482, I certainly don't see it as much as I used to. It was a Celtic Tiger favourite, where you'd buy a big feck-off house in the middle of nowhere and spend a fortune doing it up and try and claim tax relief on it. That's where it is. It's in box 514, and it's significant buildings and gardens relief. It's an all-income shelter, one of the few all-income shelters that's still around, but practically not really used that much.